Welcome to The Explainer. So, you're an indie musician. You've got the music. But how do you create visuals that actually match the scale of your sound? Today, we're talking about a secret weapon that you probably think is just for video games: Unreal Engine. And look, this isn't just some passing trend. It's about getting real creative control, about building the actual world your music deserves to live in.
Right, so what does building visual leverage even mean? It's simple, really. The real magic here isn't about making one single flashy video. It's about building a whole visual system, a library of assets, of places that you can use over and over. Yeah, there's a learning curve, but what you're really doing is investing that time up front for total control and a consistent look down the road, something that's, almost impossible for indie artists to get otherwise.
So let's be super clear. This is not some little Instagram filter or a fun app on your phone. It's a full-blown world-building engine. We're talking about creating entire environments that, not too long ago, would have needed huge budgets, a whole film crew, and all sorts of location permits. It's a complete game changer for what you can pull off on an indie budget.
And here's why now is the perfect time to jump in. The latest version, 5.7, is a huge deal for us regular folks. For one, it runs way smoother on the kind of computers you and I actually have, not just some crazy Hollywood render farm. The tools for building your worlds, they're way faster. And maybe the best part, the whole process for making cinematic shots is just better. It's more mature. You'll spend way less time pulling your hair out and more time actually making cool stuff.
Okay, this next part is maybe the most important thing to get right. It's all about the mindset. See, most people dive in and get it totally wrong. They treat Unreal like it's just another effect, something you slap on at the very end of your project. And honestly, that's the quickest way to get super frustrated and just give up.
And this slide nails the difference perfectly. Unreal is not an effect you add. It's a place you build. You have to stop thinking about it like a plugin. Instead, think like a director on a real film set. First, you build the world. Then, you light that world. And then, you bring in your virtual camera and start filming inside it. As soon as you make that little mental flip from effect to place, the whole thing just clicks. It starts making sense. And once you're thinking like a director, a lot of things make more sense, especially green screen. This is why it's so powerful. You're not just guessing what background will work. No, you design the perfect virtual set for your performance before you even think about hitting record. The performance and the world are designed to fit together from the very start. That's how you get a final shot that feels totally seamless, not like you're just floating in front of a fake background.
All right, I get it. You open Unreal for the first time, and it's a lot. It looks incredibly complicated, and that can be really intimidating. But here's the secret. For what we're doing, making music videos, you only need to get good at a tiny handful of tools. Seriously, you can pretty much ignore everything else, especially when you're just starting out.
Okay, tool number one is the sequencer. This is basically your command center. And if you've ever used a music DAW like Ableton or Logic, you're going to feel right at home here. It's just a timeline, but instead of audio tracks, you have tracks for your cameras, your lights, your characters, everything. This is where you put it all together and animate your scene over time. Next up, we have the Scenic Camera Actor. Now, actor is just Unreal's word for any object in your scene. So this is your virtual camera, but the cool thing is it acts just like a real one. You've got all the controls you'd expect: focal length, aperture, focus. This is where the artistry comes in. Are you going for a wide, epic shot or something tight and personal? Getting this right is what makes your video look cinematic, not like a video game cutscene.
Oh man, the take recorder. This thing is an absolute game changer. Instead of programming a perfect robotic camera move with keyframes, this tool lets you perform the move in real time. You can use a mouse, a keyboard, or even a game controller to move the camera around. You do a few takes, just like you would with a guitar solo, and then you pick the one that just feels right. It's all about capturing that human imperfection.
And last but not least, the movie render queue. This is your final step. This is how you export everything. And please, do not just screen record your viewport. This is a dedicated, high-quality renderer. It tells the engine, okay, don't worry about real-time speed anymore. Just slow down and make every single frame look as absolutely perfect as possible. This is how you get that clean, professional footage that's ready for your final edit.
Okay, so we've got our 4 essential tools. But knowing what a hammer is doesn't mean you know how to build a house, right? The real trick is putting them together in a smart way. So let's talk about a workflow that's efficient and gets you amazing results, especially if you're a musician who can't afford to waste time.
First things first, you do not need to be a 3D modeling expert. Let me say that again. Don't even try to model everything from scratch. That is a one-way ticket to burnout. The smart play here is to use incredible pre-made assets from places like Quixel Megascans. Think of them as your props and set pieces. Your job isn't to be the carpenter building the chairs. Your job is to be the director who decides where the chairs go and how to light them.
Okay, let's talk green screen. If you're shooting a performance to put into your virtual world, this part is non-negotiable. You have to get it right in the camera. No amount of fancy software can truly fix a badly shot green screen. Just follow these 3 simple rules. Light your screen evenly and separately from yourself. Keep some distance so you don't get that nasty green glow on you. And lock your camera's exposure and white balance. Trust me, doing this will save you from a world of pain later.
So what's the best way to put it all together? Here's the most reliable, flexible pipeline I know. You use Unreal for what it's amazing at, building the world and animating the camera. Then you export that background footage. You take that footage and your green screen performance, and you bring them into a video editor like DaVinci Resolve. Let each tool do what it's best at. Unreal is your set builder. Resolve is where you do the final composite, color grading, and edit.
All right, let's talk about that CG look. You know, when something just looks fake and sterile? A huge reason for that is perfectly smooth, robotic camera movement. This is where the take recorder comes back in. You have to perform your camera moves. It's those tiny imperfections, the little wobble, the slight hesitation before a push-in, that trick our brains into believing what we're seeing is real. It's about adding that human touch.
Okay, let's zoom out for a second. We've been talking about making one video, but what if we think bigger? Let's talk about turning this from a cool one-off trick into a powerful system that can support your entire career as an artist. This is where Unreal stops being just a piece of software and becomes part of your creative foundation. First, let's just bust a huge myth right now: the cost. People hear Unreal Engine and they think it must be crazy expensive. But for what we're talking about, making music videos, it's basically free. The license says you only have to pay them a royalty after your project makes over $1 million in gross revenue. So yeah, until you hit that mega stardom level, you can create as much as you want without worrying about the cost. So, what if one world could power 10 music videos? Think about that. The real power here is being able to reuse your work. You spend the time building one incredible virtual set. Then for your next song, you just go back into that same set, change the lighting from day to night, swap out a few textures, find some new camera angles, and suddenly you have a completely different vibe for a totally new video. One build can literally give you content for an entire album cycle. This is the secret. This is how you can compete without a massive budget. You're not trying to outspend the major label artists, you're trying to outsmart them, to outsystem them. By doing this, you're building a recognizable visual universe for your music. Fans start to connect the dots between your videos. It all feels cohesive, intentional, and it builds a powerful brand identity without you needing to spend a fortune. And you can even bring AI into the mix as a creative partner. Think of AI image generators as your concept artist, your sketchbook. Use them to come up with wild ideas, unique textures, and strange concepts. Then you take that raw inspiration and bring it into Unreal. Unreal is the structure. It's what turns that cool-looking but one-off AI image into a real, three-dimensional space you can use again and again. But let's have a quick reality check here. All this amazing visual power doesn't mean a thing if the song isn't there. A great music video can't save a weak song. The music always has to come first. What Unreal does is simply remove the excuses. It gets rid of the physical and financial barriers that stop you from creating the ambitious visuals your music truly deserves. And really, if you take one thing away from all this, it should be this idea. It's about shifting from compromise to intention. It's the difference between saying, well, I guess we can shoot in this park, it's all we can afford, versus building the exact world that you see in your head when you listen to your own music. It's about creating with pure intention.
And, this shift, this is a quiet revolution for independent artists everywhere. For the first time, you have the power to define not just how your music sounds, but the very universe it lives in. So the real question isn't about software or tools anymore. It's about your imagination. Now that the location is no longer a limit, what world will your music live in?